Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today, as this is a Monday podcast episode for February 8th, 2026. And as I was looking at my schedule here for releasing these episodes for you, I was like, we just need a breather. We just need a calming energy right now and a bigger understanding of what is unfolding so that we can remain grounded, clear, focused, and open to not only what we are moving through in the powerful energies of February, but to remember that we are active creators in this season of change. And when there is so much that is happening and changing all around us, we can become disconnected from our core and from our soul's guidance. So I just wanted to focus on some of the bigger themes that are happening right now, because as I do this episode, we have Saturn back at 29 degrees of Pisces, the Anaretic critical degree of Pisces, but also the full zodiac wheel. So if this doesn't signify big endings, I don't know what does. Now, keep in mind that Saturn has moved back and forth across this degree point since last year, specifically last May 2025, then again in September 2025, and now is the third and final pass across this final degree of the full zodiac wheel. And so this is where Saturn is not building anything new. There is a bigger review process here, and Saturn brings our conscious awareness to completions, endings, finalities, dissolving, and transcending. This is a critical point for recognizing spiritual maturity, where we are choosing to practice embodied compassion, where we are understanding the roles and responsibilities we've had, not only in the past 30 years of our lives, since that is how long it takes Saturn to move through the zodiac wheel, but specifically what we've learned to own in terms of your energy, your role, and your responsibility in all areas of your life. And this is a point of claiming mastery, especially at a spiritual level. Now, the Pisces energy is represented by the two fishes, a fish that swims up and a fish that swims down. And this is about the transcendence of the human experience, where you get to the Pisces themes and you just want a break. You're looking for escapism. You're seeking a vacation and downtime. It's where everything has been too much. And so you need something that allows you to elevate out of the physical world. And so Pisces wants to connect you to a spiritual theme, principles, or understandings that give you some deeper insights on what the heck you've been moving through, on what you have been learning and healing, on what you are closing out, and to also look at how it has affected you in some manner, to check in on your mental health, your emotional well-being, to tune in to your intuition, as well as understand what spiritual guidance means to you. So it's a very private energy. It's very internal. And so as Saturn gets to this last degree of Pisces, there's also the recognition that as one fish swims up, then the fish needs to return to the human experience, needs to come back down with that understanding that you then take forward into the next cycle. And so now we're in this interesting transition of that fish returning back into human awareness and bringing about an awakening, especially as Saturn moves into Aries on February 13th or 14th, depending on your time zone. And so this is the end of the zodiac wheel, where there could be a feeling of a void, grand endings, significant insights and understandings around what you are no longer putting energy towards, where you no longer desire to create or commit to something that maybe previously it was a big deal or it was an important part of your life. This is where big life changes occur here at the end of Pisces. But remember, Saturn has already been here. So this is the third and final pass. And this could be a time frame in February where you have more clarity on what is closing out in your life. But there's more of that empowered embodiment that you are choosing it, that you have strengthened your boundaries, that you have determined what your new values are or what your next level life priorities may be. There is a concrete energy associated with Saturn, but in Pisces, it's been very wishy-washy. It's been very in and out, and it's actually been giving you time to continue to actively choose what you want. Do I really love this? Do I really need this? Is this really true for who I am? Or am I simply feeling an obligation? Am I sensing the shoulds here? Are other people expecting me to do this or stay here? So you've had time to check in on your own intentions and motivations for changes in your life and to be stronger in your sense of self, meaning that Saturn energy wants to strengthen your backbone, wants you to feel powerful in who you are and how you're intentionally creating your life. And so as that little fishy swims back down to emerge with the powerful new start in Aries, once again, this is where you are returning to yourself but changed. You are perhaps having an awakening around what this Saturn wants you to be in alignment with, because it's who you are now. It's what you value. It's what you desire. It's what you want to commit to and build. And Saturn is a builder. So this is a time when you might be sensing the end of the cycle is much more visible and physical. You might realize where you have mastered endings, forgiveness, grief, and surrender. There could be a recognition of what is over, and it doesn't require fixing. It doesn't require that you do anything about it, rather than honor that it's complete and it was an important experience for you. Saturn is also assisting you in clearing the emotional, karmic, and spiritual residue, so that when Saturn gets into Aries, the energy is clean, true, and pure. And so this is a week where you might sense how the collective field is being cleaned up and cleared out. Now, one thing to note about this Saturn leaving Pisces, as well as the fact that Neptune left Pisces just a few weeks ago, is that you're going to start to feel not only shifts in who you are, but there's big changes happening in the background frequency. Now, the background frequency is where we can easily connect in the higher 5D realms, meaning the background frequencies have been slowly uploading and coming into our awareness since last year. And this is where we've been ushered to make changes, to complete big lessons, to move through karma, to look at what the spiritual growth is here, and to truly close out what is no longer correct for you. Now we're seeing this background frequency in the world at large as it is collapsing old versions of leadership, elders and mentors, industry professionals, celebrity culture, spiritual influencers, those who have been at perhaps the top of their game. Well, if it wasn't built on integrity, honor, and higher consciousness values that don't serve humanity in this new cycle, it is what is coming crashing down. And this is going to continue throughout this year, where there will be many fast-moving changes that happen so quickly. It's almost like you didn't get a warning. You didn't get any kind of heads up. Something happens on Monday, it's gone by Wednesday. or it's over by Friday. And this is where the head spinning developments are going to be happening in our world at large. And it's going to be jolting to us and also wildly validating of the new frequencies and the new cycles that are starting. So this means it is essential to have ways of taking care of your energy, your nervous system, and your emotions that are healthy for you and good for you. Now, because Saturn and Neptune are both moving out of Pisces, it's also going to highlight where any of your old coping mechanisms are no longer working, because there's going to be a sense of we can't go back to anything that isn't really good for us, especially anything that we have turned to unconsciously regulate our nervous systems. And so this might be where you're noticing some of your minor habits, some things you do as soon as the world gets stressful, or as soon as you feel something coming into your energy and intruding upon your aura and your world, you reach for your phone, or you look for something to eat, or you're searching for a distraction, or you're seeking out something that you realize, oh, this is why I'm doing that. I'm doing this to distract or disassociate, or I'm doing this because I can't handle this energy right now, and I need healthy ways of taking care of myself. And so part of the transition of this time is simply to be aware of what is good for you and what is not. Of course, there are extremes with this, and it's simply looking at, am I turning to substances and behaviors that I know aren't good for me? And when I look at the astrology of this year, it's better to look at what you can improve sooner than later. And it's simply a loving reminder, because I know this is a unique journey for everyone and everyone has their own approaches. What I just want to highlight is that our old coping mechanisms of escapism are no longer going to cut it. And so we're going to have to be very honest with ourselves around what you really need. And that's part of the energies moving into Aries, because there's going to be some honest messages we need to give ourselves, or we need to hear, or maybe you hear from a loved one or a friend or someone else in your circle who cares for you. This is going to be a time when people are more direct. And that's because we are busting out of the fog of these Pisces influences, and we're going to be looking at ourselves in the mirror in a whole new way. And so whatever you can do right now that supports your own self-love, self-honesty, and self-confidence is going to be a beautiful way of caring for your energy at this time. And keep in mind, there are many free resources that you can use and turn to. The first one that comes to mind is YouTube and all the various free guided meditations or sound healings that are available there that can calm anxiety, settle the nervous system, even work with cortisol and any other heightened physical energies that might be triggered for you. This is a time to have some new habits and patterns that you welcome in and work with. If of course you're looking to move away from any of those unhealthy ones. And they say that one of the most effective ways of moving away from an unhealthy pattern is to have another pattern that comes in and replaces it that is healthier, and that you learn to do that instead of the old pattern. The entry into strong Aries energy is an important new starting point. And the more conscious and intentional we are, the more the results are going to pay off, and the more you're going to feel strong in what you're initiating. Now, do keep in mind that with the energies of the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries on February 20th, the two planets are going to travel together within orb into April. And then Saturn will start to move further away from Neptune. Now, with this particular conjunction, I'm actually doing a smaller orb of only about 3 degrees, simply because it involves Neptune, and Neptune moves so slowly. This year, Neptune will only reach 4 degrees of Aries. Saturn travels faster, and Saturn will get to 14 degrees of Aries this year. So Saturn will move ahead, and when Saturn does that, there will be more strength that is solidified. So keep in mind that from February, March, and April, you could feel like you're in that what am I doing phase. You're figuring it out and you're attempting or trying some things, and maybe you're wondering, why isn't this sticking? I thought this was supposed to be a beginning point with these big Aries energies. But with the Neptune influence, there's still a part of us that is adapting to these new energies in ways that aren't solid yet. And so that Saturn energy, yes, it wants things to be evident, clear, and known, but Neptune does not. Neptune is more about transcendence, inconsistency, allowing for change, and allowing yourself to feel okay with the changes. So this could be also a really good time to just experiment with any of these new starts, knowing that the energy isn't going to be quite solid until, again, the second half of April, when Saturn is no longer being strongly influenced by Neptune. Now, I do see these two as being a very interesting conjunction between the 3D of Saturn and the 5D of Neptune. So here they are together, merging 3D and 5D, inviting us to be a new version of self that signifies a significant soul level beginning. And so the bigger picture is that we're each being guided to a new start that is important at a soul level, but it might not be evident right away what that's about. So again, this is where trusting ourselves pays off. This is also where knowing there is no need to rush is important. And that can be hard for the Aries energies, because Aries wants to get up and go. Why aren't we there yet? Why are we only going 35 when we should be going 75? But these are energies that are being tempered, and there's greater intentionality and consciousness required now in understanding what you're starting or putting energy towards. Is it really me? Do I really want this? Is this lighting me up? Is it fueling my fire? And do I feel motivated for what this is? And with this energy, you have to keep checking in. You might find you're asking yourself over and over again, is this still the thing? Does this still match my energy field? So allow that to be a part of your openness at this time, because there might be some things that fall away, or the next version presents itself, or you realize, this is just a 50% for me. And then the universe brings in another message that amps it up. And you're like, oh, this is now a 75 or 95% for me. So we just have to stay in an open state, which is a self-honoring practice, which is a way of honoring what you're really feeling and what you really want. Now, keep in mind, we also are going to have Mercury retrograde in Pisces. That will be the end of February 26th until March 20th. And then we're also going to have a lot of planets in Pisces. Then all those planets move into Aries in April. We have quite the stellium of energies in April. So that's not that far away, of course, but it means that we're meant to trust this weird, fuzzy state of uncertainty and give ourselves the needed time to process the overwhelm, confusion, chaos, endings, and anything else that you're feeling. So I just wanted to offer this rather simple message in today's show that can hopefully assist in planning for the next few months in terms of the bigger themes, and to know that all of this is right on time at a cosmic level. This is all happening for the best and highest good of all. And we don't always see things in the moment, but in hindsight, we certainly can have a fresh perspective on what is meant to be revealed, seen, completed, and closed out. Now, if you've listened to my podcast for a while, you've heard me mention a few times the Hopi Prophecy, and I believe that is what we're experiencing. So I'm going to repeat it here because I believe it has such deep wisdom and relevance for right now, because it aligns with these astrological energies, the collective consciousness, one of the grand cycles that humanity is moving through. And I hope it also reminds you of the fact that you are the one with power. You are the one who is here to contribute to the new earth, the new beginnings, and the new starts. And this could also be something that you've planned on for lifetimes. So without further ado, here is the Hopi Prophecy. And I will sign off after that. I will see you back here on Wednesday as we'll discuss the weekly astrology as we move through a very big time in February. The Hopi Prophecy is commonly referred to as "we are the ones we have been waiting for." You have been telling people that this is the 11th hour. Now you must go back and tell the people that this is the hour. And there are things to be considered. Where are you living? What are you doing? What are your relationships? Are you in right relationship? Where is your water? Know your garden. It is time to speak your truth. Create your community. Be good to each other. And do not look outside yourself for your leader. Then the elder clasped his hands together, smiled, and said, "This could be a good time. There is a river flowing now very fast. It is so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore. They will feel they are being torn apart and will suffer greatly. No, the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore, push off into the middle of the river, keep our eyes open and our heads above the water. And I say, see who is in there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey come to a halt. The time of the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and your vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you so much. I'll see you Wednesday.